Welcome to part 2 of my class on anxiety. Today's lesson is what is fear and why do we feel it? Imagine this scenario. You are a prehistoric human roaming through a primeval forest. Suddenly, a saber-toothed tiger jumps out at you from behind, having you fight for your life. With all your strength, you push it off of you and stab it with a spear that you've been carrying. You are wounded, but you go back to your temporary settlement and the members of your tribe nurse you back to health. The problem is, you are not the same. Now, every time you think about venturing to the forest, you feel uneasy. You tense up, your legs refuse to move. All you can think of is how the tiger's claws and teeth sunk into your skin, how you didn't see it coming. Your brain is trying to stop you exposing yourself to danger in order to preserve your life. Let's say this goes on and you never want to leave your hut because every time you do, you start shaking and spiral into a full-blown panic attack. At first, your tribe members are encouraging. They bring you food and water. They show understanding for your condition. But as the time goes by, they grow weary of your lack of participation. You become a burden. After all, you are physically capable of hunting and gathering. They start whispering of rationing your portions, or perhaps even leaving you behind the next time they migrate. You are faced with a new existential fear: ostracization. You're caught between a rock and a hard place. On one side, a threat of immediate bodily harm. On the other, a threat of losing all your familiar support, leading to permanently being exposed to bodily harm. You eventually choose to overcome your fear of venturing out to the forest and you get back to your normal life. Our lives these days are so far removed from the primitive human experience that we have lost the perspective on the fact that all fears are really existential and fall into two categories. Number one, the fear of immediate bodily harm, like a result of a car accident, a disease, or an attack. And number two, the fear of being excluded from the society. I would argue that most anxiety falls into the second category, even though it's not always obvious to us that we experience it. Something like a fear of public speaking, a worry that our outfit won't match the occasion, or a compulsive need to people please doesn't immediately strike us as an existential fear. But if you follow the train of thought, you will find that it always is. For example, you are anxious before a date. You don't know if the person you are meeting will like the way you dress, the way you think, the way you speak. It seems like a trivial thing, but when you dig deeper and you ask yourself what's the worst that can happen, you may find that what you are actually afraid of is that they might dislike you so much that they spread a nasty rumor about you to everyone they know. Now, no one wants to date you and you don't go on to have children and pass on your genetics. Or perhaps you misread their signals and do something they didn't want, and that makes you a bad person. Now, you're at risk of losing your job, your family and friends shunning you, maybe even going to jail, potentially decreasing the quality of your life or even ending it. The society we have built is so complex that being excluded from your immediate social group doesn't necessarily mean becoming permanently exposed to the forces of nature, but it also isn't without consequences. A fear at its core is a safety mechanism, designed to keep you alive and out of trouble. So what am I saying to you? All your anxiety is valid and therefore you are doomed to the life of always shaking your boots, staying small and people-pleasing? Thankfully not. I will explain what to do instead in the next class. Like and subscribe for more.